they have that sense like I'm already here. We got this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then you have the other guys across the field, they getting, vibing.
Yeah.
There was no vibe.
Energy.
There was no vibe.
No. And I mean, at some points, even when they showed Belichick, he looked like he didn't have an answer.
Always looked like that.
He looked like, and I mean, he always looks like that, but at certain moments in that game yesterday, he looked like he really didn't have an answer. He looked like, oh, like, what the hell is going on? Like, this is not supposed to be happening. We the Patriots, we in the Super Bowl. It's not supposed to go like this. But he came up against a monster, man. A monster that had nothing to lose because everybody counted him out. Young guys playing with a chip on their shoulder. And because personally, I think Jacksonville let off the gas.
Just like
Because
like the Falcons.
Jacksonville was supposed to beat them. Just like last year, the Falcons were supposed to win that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
No question. I couldn't believe it when they came back and ended up winning. There's no way. Hey!
Yeah!
Eagles fans,
walked in the
lend me
building.
your ears.
Yeah!
Look who
I had to
walked in
leave
the
work
building.
to come up here to mess with y'all bird lovers, man.
Hey, man, listen.
Oh man, let me sit down,
We got
man.
one.
Oh,
We got one.
you already know I'm tuned in.
We
Oh.
got one, man.
Oh.
Finally.
Oh,
Finally.
oh,
And listen, now that you're here,
My man Baldy's is
A lot
walking
of
the
them.
building.
oh.
a lot of the things that we talked about prior to this moment came through.
Listen, man. This city been waiting for something like this for a long time, and and I whether I'm in a barbershop, whether I'm at work, wherever I'm at, this has always been a conversation. I'm a Niners fan, die hard. 1980.
Yeah.
Until you win, you can't sit at the table and eat and have this conversation.
You there now.
Until you win everything that you've done, I don't care if you have division titles, NFC appearances, Super Bowl appearances, until you win.
Absolutely.
The cats that won is always going to say, but you didn't win.
Yep.
You didn't finish the
Got
job.
there.
You didn't win.
finished the job.
And so that's always been. This is why Eagles fans went cold bananas. All you got to do is look on social media and hear it
Yeah.
and see it.
Yeah.
Dog, I was in a house full of Eagles fans yesterday. My brother. Oh, my wife. Oh,
You was going through.
I caught whole hell up in that joint.
Yes, it did.
But like we said on the show, Nick Foles was going to have. It wasn't about Tom Brady. It wasn't about outdueling Tom Brady. Your defense was better than their defense. It was about getting a 1, 2, 3 and out, a bend don't break attitude. If you can preserve that, then you put yourself in a good position to win. Nick Foles was going to have to do what he did the week before.
Yep.
He was going to have to get the ball down the field. He was going to have to be accurate. He was going to have to be all that stuff.
Yeah.
He was that.
It was that.
And then some.
Yes.
I was impressed with dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how I do. I was impressed with how poised this dude was.
Absolutely.
Even when y'all went down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even, they put the camera on him,
That's what I just said.
and he looked right at them, was like, yo, let's get it done.
That's what I
He
said.
looked confident.
I
He
said,
looked
I
confident.
said there were moments when they showed both sidelines, and you could see the stud, the confusion on the Patriots sideline. But then when you looked at the Eagles sideline, it was like, look, we're gonna get back on the field. We're gonna do what we need to do
Well, like I told
on
people,
both sides of the ball.
and they didn't, I guess they didn't understand where I was coming from when I said this. But what I did say to a few people, there's no pressure on y'all.
None.
Yeah.
There's no, forget the underdog stuff.
No pressure.
There's
at
no
all.
pressure on this Eagles team because not their Eagles fan that I know that I talked to, we talked to a lot of them. at the beginning of the season could say y'all was going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Like we talked.
Unless you get the one Eagles fan that says y'all going to win a Super Bowl every year just to be saying it.
Mm-hmm.
But there was not one that I knew that could give me a definitive answer about where they knew or where they actually thought you would be. I was thinking we were saying 9 and 7, 10 and 6.
Possibly a wild card.
Well, the person I just gave a shout out to, my cousin Henry, told me after the third game this season that we was winning the Super Bowl. And he don't do it every year. He just said, I just see something different. And then when Wentz went down, I called him. I told him he was crazy. That because he still was on the same. He said nothing changed. Nothing changed. He said Foles is going to come in and we going to the Super Bowl and we going to win. He said this. And I told him, I said, man, you crazy. We was on the phone arguing, texting, like my thumbs was hurting from texting this dude all night long. And he said, relax, just chill. Foles is going to win the Super Bowl.
Well, that's called belief.
Yeah.
He just happened to be right. But that's called belief. Yeah. Because when you have a team who had a quarterback who's arguably the MVP, how often do you win after they go down?
You don't.
You don't win.
You don't.
Unless you got a Baltimore Ravens defense that gives you points, you don't win.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this team had a guy who was ready, a guy who actually was ready to quit football, a guy who had something to play for.
Absolutely.
It was different. And maybe he was right about feeling that vibe, that it was different and nothing changed. But you can't tell me every Eagles fan was sitting there saying, when Carson Wentz got hurt, damn, they got us again.
Listen, I had to talk, like you said, I had to talk to a lot of Eagles fans. Yo, listen, so y'all forget that Nick Foles got the Eagles to the playoffs.
Right.
He didn't win, but he got him there. I said, and then that season he had wasn't a fluke. Everybody's like, well, no, he ain't had a season since then. Well, that's because the people that were brought in after that, when he was here, was better for the offense, better for the team.
Yeah.
Michael Vick. Of course he's going to play back up to Michael Vick because Michael Vick is mobile. So broken plays can be extended.
Right.
Nick Foles wasn't that mobile, and his thing is that's our pocket quarterback. We need somebody to stay in the pocket and be accurate and throw the ball possibly downfield. We can go with that. But what we had as a unit, we need that extra at the quarterback position. Right. So naturally, personnel, Mike Vick has to start. But when he came into play, he played. And it wasn't like, oh, damn it, Nick Foles is out there, he's going to throw this game away. It was never that far with me. Right. I had confidence in Nick Foles. And like we talked, I said, now we know it's on Doug to make him comfortable. That's all you got to do. You make your teammates comfortable. That was the biggest knock I had with Chip Kelly. You did not put personnel that you had into your offense, which is what I think a coach is supposed to do.
Well, yeah.
And Doug has done that all season long. And like I said, the jury was out for me for a while for Doug. And I don't know if you were here, but I mentioned earlier that I was just preparing for the show one day, and I just said, hey, let me just Google Doug Peterson and see what I come up with. And his football lineage is deep. And like I mentioned earlier, some of the guys that he has that lineage with are arguably some of the greatest minds in football right now, or football as we see it now. So there is an it factor now to see it with Doug, with the games that he called throughout the playoffs, and especially yesterday.
Well, yeah, I agree. He coached a real good
like moments, key moments in that game. I think the first one was the draft. I mean, not the draft. The first drive that the Patriots had held them to 3 points. people may say, well, they still scored. Like you
Ain't
said, Bob,
seven.
they don't have nothing to lose. It's a win.
Mm-hmm.
Like you always say, bend, don't break. They didn't break. They bent a little bit. They snuck in, they got that field goal. But then they turned around and come back, and they missed
Right.
a field goal. They fumbled the snap. Then they missed an extra point.
Right.
So that's 3 points in the game where I saw it's changing, and they feel. In between there, we had the headache. Brandon Cooks. I was expecting it to have been the defensive line getting to Brady and making him a little groggy, but we'll take it where we can get it.
Right.
And at that moment, you looked, and it's like, whoa, these dudes came to play. The second, another one that I point out, one of the runs by Ajayi, and when he hit Patrick Chung, first thing he did was he stood up, pointed to him, and he said,
Night, night.
he said, night, night.